Welcome back, listeners, to a brand new episode of the New Standard. And as always, I guess, not as always, you're checking out the program on 4th of July. Want to wish a happy Independence Day to everybody out there. Hopefully, you're bringing it in well, having some ribs, some brew, some bourbon, having a good time and some good fun as we celebrate America's independence. Don't want to make it too political, but it's ironic. We are celebrating America's independence as the Supreme Court just said that the president is a king. But with that, we will shift notes and shift in another direction. And as always, you're checking out the New Standard hosted by yours truly, Lance Williams. The title of today's program is The Defense Can't Do No More. And we're going to jump down and break down how we think on this program that the defense right now, or what the defense was last year, was good enough to be a championship defense, and how it's going to be difficult to get more juice from the squeeze from this defense in the 2024-25 season. But with that, if you want to participate in the program, please make sure you hit me with the like and subscribe. Also got a new little logo in the background. And I want to get you guys' thoughts. So on the chat, please give me your thoughts on the logo in the background. Want to get your feedback on that. We might roll this out as a new logo. Use some AI to create the logo. Use Copilot, Microsoft's Copilot, to create the logo. Hope you guys like it and enjoy it. But let's jump to the program and let's jump to the topics. Some of the topics are that we want to discuss in this particular show are why the Steelers defense passes the analytical test, DVOA, advanced metrics, so on and so forth. If you're not familiar with DVOA, do a search for it on Google. It's value. It's talking about value, the value of a defense, value added. Also, we're going to talk about why the defense is Super Bowl worthy or Super Bowl caliber, how it was. Now, there are some changes to the defense this year, namely at the cornerback position, but I think that Tomlin and Terrell Austin have the ability to scheme this defense up in a way where it can be Super Bowl worthy. Number 3 topic we're going to discuss is, can the Steeler defense be any better? And last but not least, we're going to talk about how it is time for the offense to step up. But from an analytical perspective, we're going to use DVOA as the advanced metric that we're going to use to prove that the Steelers defense in and of itself is Super Bowl worthy and passes the analytical test. So we're going to use DVOA and we're going to use some regular statistics, points per game, to justify my notion that this defense, at least last year, was good enough and will be good enough, I think, in the upcoming season to win a championship. If you look at DVOA, the average total DVOA for playoff teams in the AFC was 9. You look at the Kansas City Chiefs. In terms of DVOA, they rank 7th in DVOA, in overall defense, and the Baltimore Ravens rank 1st. Steelers rank 6th. If you look at the rest of the playoff teams, Buffalo ranked 12th, Cleveland ranked 2nd, Houston was 16th, KC was 7th. Again, Miami was 19th, and the Steelers were 6th. The overall average was 9. So right there, it tells you that the quality of defense that this unit was playing last year was worthy of them definitely getting to the playoffs and was good enough and comparable to other playoff teams in the AFC. If you look at the NFC, whose total average DVOA for playoff teams was 16th, it would have stood out amongst that group. The 49ers were 4th in DVOA, and the Detroit Lions were 13th in DVOA. Those were the two NFC championship teams. But if you compare the Steelers defense to the AFC championship game teams and the NFC championship team games, it ranks favorably. You look at the defense on the NFC side, Dallas was 5th, Detroit was 13th. This is all in DVOA. Again, please like and subscribe to the program. Happy 4th of July. If you're checking out the program, please relax, have a brew, and listen to the stew. See, I'm an MC like Nipsey Russell, my brother. They not like us. Philadelphia Eagles, 29th. Again, the Niners were 4th. Tampa Bay was 14th. The LA Rams were 22nd. So that shows you right there in terms of DVOA, in terms of overall defense. The Steelers' defense last year ranked very well. Now, breaking that down just a little bit more in terms of pass rank DVOA and rush rank DVOA, the Steelers were 6th in passing DVOA and 6th in rushing defensive DVOA. Again, very good numbers. They averaged their DVOA average was 6th, although it was a little bit higher when you look at total DVOA. So again, the Steelers defense, outstanding last year in terms of advanced analytics. You want to look at Kansas City's defense last year? They were 5th in DVOA in pass defense, 5th in rushing defense. Average was 5th. The Ravens were 1st in passing DVOA. They were 7th in rushing DVOA. Their average was 4th. Again, the Steelers, when you look at from an analytical perspective using DVOA, they match up quite favorably with the top defenses in both conferences of teams that made the playoffs. The overall average DVOA in terms of pass defense for playoff teams was 10th. The Steelers ranked 5 spots better. Rush defense, it was 12th. Steelers defense, 7 spots better in that instance. And the average DVOA for playoff defenses overall was 11th. So again, when you look at this Steeler defense, it was a top defense. The defense was good enough and performed well enough and consistently enough over the course of the season to warrant a playoff appearance, which it had. But essentially, it was carrying an offense that did not, in many instances, help out the solid performance that the defense was giving this offense every single week. Now, and trying to prove that the defense was Super Bowl worthy, just from a regular statistical perspective, when you look at points per game of AFC conference teams that made the playoffs, they averaged 19.5. They gave up 19.5 a game. Steelers, 19.1. The average points per game rank of the playoff teams, 8th. The Steelers were 6th. When you look at Kansas City gave up 17.2 points per game, probably about, let's just roughly say 2 points less. Their points per game rank was number 2 to the Baltimore Ravens, who gave up 16.5. Their points per game rank was number 1. Overall, the teams in terms of points per game ranking ranked 8th. So again, the Steelers defense, when you look at analytics and you look at stats and you look at numbers, the Steelers defense played well enough to support a championship team. So when you talk about this question of the defense can't do any more, you start getting into, how much more squeeze or juice can you get out of the squeeze of this defense? I mean, if the number one leading defense gave up 16.5 last year, which was outstanding in this era of scoring points, let's say the Steelers can't get it to 16.5, but let's say you cut the difference, they get it to 17.2. They drop it 2 points and get to 17. I mean, that's a big difference over the course of, an entire season. That's 35 points. That's like a game of points. But 19 isn't bad. If you rank sixth in terms of points per game given up, it's not bad. Your DVOA overall is sixth. It was better than the eventual Super Bowl champion in the Kansas City Chiefs, and it was only 2 spots worse than the NFC representative in the San Francisco 49ers. Same thing when you look at DVOA pass rank and DVOA rush rank defense. I mean, the Steelers were 1 slot below Kansas City in both. The Ravens were first, but let's say, the Steelers get it from sixth, and maybe they're as good as Cleveland at second. Or they take their rush rank to like maybe fourth, like Cleveland's in terms of DVOA. I mean, there's not much more you can get out of this defense. I mean, even Baltimore last year, the Ravens, and again, please like and subscribe to the program. You're checking out this week's show. Again, have a happy 4th of July. You're checking out the show. The defense can't do no mo. I mean, even the Ravens were fantastic statistically on defense. And so, and even if the Steelers got it to, and I don't know if the Steelers can be as good as the Ravens were statistically last year on defense, but right now the Steelers defense is sitting at a spot where if it gets better, or how much better, the bigger question is how much better does it need to be to support an offense? I mean, quiet is kept, man. I mean, the offense needs to step up. The offense has to step up. I mean, it is time for the offense to step up and support this defense because, there's not much room for improvement from a statistical perspective for the Steeler defense. The only thing you could say, could they lead the league in turnovers? Possibly. Could they start scoring touchdowns on defense? But right now, the Steelers' defense is absolutely rock solid from a statistical perspective. And where they ranked in terms of numbers, according to DVOA and points per game, that was good enough if their offense was good enough to get further along in the playoffs. I mean, right now, I think this defense is going to have to play even better than it did last year just because of the number of question marks that you have on this offense. You got a new quarterback, you got a new coordinator, you got moving pieces on the offensive line. Those three things enough, and you have to get the quarterback, head coach, and coordinator have to all get on the same page so they trust each other when the bullets are flying. So when Mike Tomlin is coaching the team on Sunday and can't focus on offense, he trusts Arthur Smith implicitly to run that offense. The offense has to learn each other. The receivers got to learn Russell Wilson. He's got to learn the offense. The young offensive tackles have to get settled and become pros. You have a ton of moving pieces on this offense. The question is, from a statistical perspective, can this defense possibly be better and get better? Because, when you look at it statistically again across the board, the numbers were impressive last year. 19.1, sixth in the NFL. Overall DVOA 6. DVOA pass defense 6. DVOA rushing defense 6. Overall DVOA average 6. That's solid. If you can't win a championship with that, it's definitely not the defense's issue. So that's why I was really confused when so many in Steeler Nation were calling for the head of Terrell Austin. I just didn't understand it because although the defense, you couldn't say that was a class or technical difficulty there. It didn't bring up memories of the steel curtain, but damn, no defense is going to be that good. I mean, so again, this season to me is all about the offense. Will the offense show up? Point blank, period. It's on Arthur Smith, Tomlin, Russell Wilson, Pickens. They've got to get that thing going. And if they could score some points, get it to 24 a game, 25 a game, then you're cooking because the defense is going to do its job. It is going at a baseline. If it keeps the same baseline as last year, it'll be good enough for them to win a championship. But with that, we're going to get out of here. Wanted to give you a little bit of content before we go. Again, enjoy your 4th of July. And as always, tune in, tell a friend, and subscribe. Happy 4th of July, and go Steelers.